As we get ready to ring in the new year, Rachel Notley and Jason Kenney sat down for their year-end interviews, and no one can deny this past year has been rough on all of us. One of the most bizarre things for me was to watch the NDP transformation from anti-oil protesters to Alberta's biggest oil and gas champions. Now, you remember David Eggen holding a megaphone at a No More Tar Sands development rally and Shannon Phillips at a Northern Gateway protest. It took the NDP 3.5 long years to finally realize that oil and gas foots the bill in this province. We all knew that when the NDP came into power, it was going to be a rough transition. But have the NDP done anything to actually help our province economically or financially, or even inspire an iota of hope for our situation? The carbon tax was brought in. We were told that it was going to give us this magical social license that would get our pipelines that we desperately needed approved and in the ground. But naturally, we all knew this social license was based off of hopes, dreams, and a misguided trust in Justin Trudeau. So where is that pipe now? Well, Northern Gateway is dead in the water, Energy East has no hope of being revived, and Trans Mountain, after being stonewalled by BC Premier Horgan, has been sent right back to the Federal Court of Appeal for another round of reviews. Did that carbon tax do what it was intended to do by adding costs to force us to change our ways, or did it force us to decrease our fuel consumption? Rachel Notley has no idea whether it did or if it didn't. So while I was spending time with some very strong NDP supporting family members over Christmas, I figured I would ask them the exact same question. Did they drive less? Did they take public transit? And did they lower their fuel consumption in general? The answer was 0 for 3. Proved to me that all this tax achieved was to make life for everyday Albertans far more expensive than it needed to be. And it reinforced my view that this is just a backdoor PST, nothing more. And then there's our dreaded debt coming in at over $50 billion with no plan to return to balance other than the NDP's delusion of spending their way to prosperity. We have one of the most expensive governments in all of Canada. This is nothing to be proud of. Hopefully we're headed into an election where Rachel's NDP have already shown their strategy. They're going to sling as much mud as they possibly can at Jason Kenney and the UCP, and they're going to paint them as socially backwards and cut and burn barbarians. The scary thing is that people actually believe this NDP propaganda full of scare tactics and false information. What would Kenney do if he's elected? Well, first things first, our awful carbon tax would be gone, and then Alberta would join the fight against Justin Trudeau's federal climate plan. And then Alberta would finally stand up against Trudeau's attempt to shut our province down with things like the BC tanker ban and Bill C-69. Alberta doesn't get the respect that we more than deserve. Jason Kenney is ready to put equalization to a referendum. And like Kenney said, money talks. So threatening to put an end to being Canada's cash cow is a very powerful card to play. So many Albertans are desperate for change, and we are tired of being disrespected. We are tired of having the potential prosperity of our province held hostage and blockaded at every turn, and we are done with feeling hopeless. This election will be historic because Alberta will finally be able to turn the page and close the book on this NDP nightmare, and I can't wait.